So last class, we studied about the background layers, how to create layers, how to rearrange and edit layers, how to work on opacity, the transparency of the layers, and the blending modes. Now, in today's class, we will learn how we can link different layers if we have, how we can apply layer styles, how we can flatten the layers, and how we can composite the layers, how we can duplicate and align layers, and how we can make the layer groupings. So first, we'll see how we can do the layer linking and what is the concept of the layer link. This is what we are going to learn in this more like session today. Okay, and anything that we have related to assignments, we will check after the class, and I will explain you about the assignments uh, at the end of this class. Now, I have these three files open over here, but I'll work on this empty file, and let's see how we can do the layer linking. So basically, layer linking means like if you have two or three different layers, how we can combine those layers and how we can link them. So first of all, our whole document here is empty. There is nothing over here. So let's make some sort of like design over here. So I will make a new layer by clicking the new layer button. Once I have a new layer, I will call this one text background. And now, once this is created, I will take a shape here, a rectangle shape, and I will choose a color here. For example, this color. And I'll change the type of my shape to pixels so that it will create the shape as an image, like it will count it is like it is an image, because image is basically as it is. You don't have to change anything about it. It's very simple, and then you can work on it the way you work on it on any sort of image. So I will create something like this here, and I will have a shape. So I can move wherever I want. And let's make another layer here. And here I will call it text. And I will take a text tool. You don't have to worry about this right now because we have not studied so far anything related to text tool uh, so far. So when we will move to the text exercises, so you will get more idea how the text tool actually works basically. I will click on the text tool and I will click anywhere on the screen. But first I have to choose what color I want. So maybe I will choose like a text color from here. And I will just click one time. As soon as I will click, I will get a text here, okay, which is very light in color. So let's do one thing. Let's go to the background layer and drop a different sort of color on the background layer so that it is visible. So I will take any color, take a bucket tool and click on the background layer. Just you can look at it. I am in the background layer. I'll just put it here. Now you can see the text is clear because the color itself is clear. Now the text, it's very small. So what I can do, I can go to my edit option here, free transform, and this will allow me to rotate the text or to scale the text. So I don't want to go in detail in of the transform tool because we have a different chapter, a complete topic only like related to transformation, which we will do in our next class. So I don't want to go in detail. Just I will create a text like this, and that's all. So I have here text in this layer. I have background, like text background in this layer. And what else I can do here is that let's bring some image over here. Maybe I will go to this bh.jpg, and let's select this image. I will take my marquee tool, select this part, edit, copy, go back to this, and edit and paste. So here I have my image. Okay. Also, I will make this image a little bigger. So from transform, I will make it a bit bigger. And then that's all. So how many layers I have here? It's like, okay. Now I have this layer, which is an image, and I will rename this layer by double clicking here and call this one uh, buildings. So I have buildings, I have text, I have then text background. The text background is this layer, text itself is this, and building itself is this. Now, what if I want to move the buildings and the text, both of them together, but I don't want the text background to move together. So actually at this stage, if I go to the text background, when I move it, it is separate. When I go to the text layer and try to move it, it is separate. And when I go to buildings and move it, it is separate. I want the building and text to be linked together. By this, I mean if I move the building layer, the text moves with it. If I move the text, the buildings should move with it. So at this stage, right now, they are not linked together because they are separate from each other. So to link them together, I have to select those layers which I want to link. I want to link text layer, and I want to link it to buildings, and vice versa. I want the building to be linked to the text. So I have to select both of these. So when I will select both of these, they both will be selected. Okay. Now, when these both are selected, in the end, what I want to do is to create a sort of a link between these two. And to create a link between these two, there is an option here down, which is known as the linking option, if you will see here. So if I click this button, so they both will be linked together. Okay. So once I click here, you can see that there is an icon here and the same icon is here. That means they both are linked. So suppose now if I'm on the text background and I'm trying to move this, it's moving like separately. And if I go to the text layer and I try to move the text layer, so you will notice the building is moving with it. And if I go to the building and I try to move the building, so you can see the text is moving with it. This is why, because they both are linked together. And now wherever I will move these, like any one of these, the one which is linked to it will move with it. But text background, as it is not linked to any layer, if you click on it, you will not see any linking option. That means it will move separately. But here, they both will move like together. If I move text, building will move with it. If I will move building, the text will move with it. But somehow, like later on, if you decide, no, I don't want them to link anymore longer, so you will do the same thing. You will select both of them or any one of them and press this link button. So it will be unlinked. Now it is unlinked. So if I will move the building, it will move separately. If I will move text, it will move separately. Now, what if I want the text backgrounds? Like suppose, let's select both of them again and link them again. Now they are linked again. Now, what if I want the text background to be part of any one of these? So if I will go to the text background and press this button, I will not be able to do that because I have to first select the text layer, okay? And then I have to select the text background. And then just notice I have not selected the buildings. I have selected the text and then I have selected the text background. Now I'm selecting more than one layer with the control key. So if I will click on this link button, you will notice that the building wasn't selected, the text was selected. And then I selected the text background with the control key. Now if I will go to the text background and try to move the text background, which is this one, it will move the whole thing. Because now the text itself, now the text background itself has become the part of like the text background has become the part of text and building. And if you notice, when I was moving like when I was linking, I only selected text. I didn't selected building. So if I will move the text, you can see the same thing. And building is as it is linked to the text, it is moving with it. And if I will go to the building and move, it is moving the whole thing again. And when I was linking, I was just linking with the text, not with the building. So why building is already attached to these two? The reason is that because building was already attached to the text. So building became the part of the text by itself. So this means even if your building is a layer or any layer other layer is not selected, you don't have to worry about, because you just have to select one of them, link it to the other, and they will be automatically linked because you linked them before. Okay. So now any layer you will move and they will move with it. So this is how you can link 2 or 3 different layers. Now, if I don't want this layer, I can just simply go on this text layer and I can unlink this one. And now you will see that the text is unlinked, but these two are still linked. So if I will move the text, it will move separately. But if I will go to the text background and start moving, it will move only the background or the background for the text and the buildings, not the text itself, because I just unlinked it. And in order to link it back, I have to select any one of these two, then select the text and then link it. Then it will become part of it. Okay. This is how it works. So let's do one thing. Let's unlink all of them. Now, I will just click here and then press here, and notice nothing is linked here. Everything is unlinked. So like a simple way of doing this. Now, this is what you will have, and this is how it will work with the linking. So I have the linking layers is clear with you all. Any one of you who have question regarding the like text linking, is everything clear? Okay. So let's go like forward and let's see the layer styles. Okay. Now the layer styles is basically effects on the on different layers. To apply the effects on different layers, there are a couple of ways. The first way is that you can see just next to the linking option, there is a layer style option. So, which says add a new layer style. If you hover over here, it says add a new layer style. You just have to select the layer on which you want to apply that layer style. Go and add a new layer style, click on it, and you will see a lot of different styles here. So there is bevel and impose, there is stroke, there is inner shadow, there is inner glow, there is satin, and so many other things. Okay, and there is blending options too. Suppose I want to apply effect which is called bevel and impose. So I will just click on bevel and impose. As soon I will click on it, it will give me layer style option. So there is so this is one way of applying it. Okay? And as soon you will get this option, you will see you are like the same list of effects are here, which was appearing when I clicked on this button. So bevel and impose is in effect here, and it is applying now. You can see how it looks like in this thumbnail. As well, you can see how it is how it is appearing on my text background. Now, as my preview is now on, I'm able to see this. So if I will uncheck the preview, I will not be able to see here. If I will click on it, I will be able to see it. Sometimes your computer is slow. So when your computer is slow, it's always better to uncheck this one. Otherwise, it will make your computer more slower and you might not able to work. So if you will uncheck this one, you can uh, see the results in this thumbnail. That's enough. But as my computer can handle it, I can turn back the preview on. Now I have different like sort of styles over here. I have pillow emboss. I have auto like outer bevel. It will look like this. I have inner bevel. It will look like this. Okay. It will like it will do the bevel and emboss in like the pixels which are inside. Outer bevel, it will just apply the effect outside the border. Okay. This is inside the border. This is outside the border. Then I have emboss only. Emboss, what it will do is that it is mixed between outside and inside. Okay. Then pillow is what it is more emphasized on inside, less emphasized on outside. Then stroke emboss, okay, which is only for the stroke if you have an outline or a border over here. Now the one that I like to use here at this stage is outer bevel. I will choose outer bevel and then technique. So there are different techniques. Smooth will give you smooth result. You can see here. Okay. Chisel hard will give you a hard result. You can see the light here, the difference between the dark area than the light area. It's very sharp. While in smooth, it is smooth. The transition between light and gray area is just smooth. And the chisel soft is basically half hard, half soft. But I usually like to keep it smoother. So my result is very smooth, very nice transitional way of like doing it. Doesn't look hard. Now, depth. What is the depth? You can increase the depth or decrease the depth. And when you increase or decrease the depth, you can see what sort of result it's giving. Okay. So, how much you want it to be raised from the background. If I will increase it, it will show me like a hard raise. And if I will reduce it, it will show me a soft raise. So, soft looks like better. Maybe this value. Okay. Now, direction. What is the direction? Right now, if you will see, this area is white, this area is black. White shows that the light is falling from the top. Okay. So, means the direction of it is up. If I press down, you will notice that the light is falling from the down and it gives an like an illusion that it is going inwards. It is beveling inside of the page itself, of the background itself. It is embossing inside. It is not raising from the like background. It is basically uh, like like penetrating the background. While in up, it is giving me an illusion because light is like falling on the top. It's giving me an illusion that it is raising up from the ground. So in this case, I want to keep it up. Now, this effect, if you seems like good here, but if you will notice on my design, it seems quite smaller because my size of the document is bigger. So as bigger your size is, your effects will seem smaller. So you have to change the size of your effect. So if I increase the size, you can see that the size is changing. Okay. Now here the size looks quite big because this is showing you a regular size. But here it seems normal. So you have to look at both of these at the same time because you cannot rely on any one of this. You have to check both of them because the result might be different. So I have used size something like 92. Now the soft, like how soft it is, 9 pixels. I can make it more softer. Just notice there is some hardness. As soon as I will increase the softness, it will become more softer. If I'll reduce it, it will become more harder. I will increase a bit, maybe 15. Now shading. Shading is same thing I was talking about the light itself. And light, it is falling from the top. So you will notice there is a light direction here. This is our object, and here there is a tiny gray circle. And this tiny gray circle is what? This tiny gray circle is the light itself, which you can see is directly coming on, like coming from the top. Now, you can change it visually, the light direction, or you can type the values here. Usually typing the value is like trial and error. You have to write a value, then you have to see if it is right or wrong. Or visually it is more easier because you can easily view what you're doing, and here also you will get the result of it. Now there is a option here which is known as use global light. Use global light is checked. That means same light option, if you will change here, it will change for other like effects also. But if you don't want to like relate this light to the other like effects, you can uncheck this value. Okay. But for this case, I will keep it checked. If I will take this light, move around, you can see that the light is changing here as well. Okay. I can move it closer. I can move it on the top, far away, or a little near, a little to the left. So many things I can do. So maybe I will keep it as this. Okay. But notice, whatever I have changed, let's move it to a bit of this. Okay. Now, and a little bit down. Okay. Now I have changed this one. I moved it a little bit up. The value is a little bit changed, both of them. The altitude, the height of the light, and the direction of the light. Now, when I change this, it's not only changed for bevel and emboss. Because the use global light is checked, this is changed for all the other effects. All the effects are different from each other. Now here, the light is falling from the top now. Okay. And this is the like the settings. So same will be applied to the others as well, as because the use global light is on. Now there is a glass contour. Now what is a sorry, called gloss contour, not the glass. It's called gloss control. So gloss is basically the shine which is appearing over here. How shine, like how the light is falling, how the highlight is being shown. So to make it more softer, to make it more high quality, there is an anti-alias. You can turn it on. As soon you will turn it on, you will see a very good sort of a transition here. Now, at this stage, the gloss contour is linear. If you click on this arrow, you will see different sort of contouring option. So this is very simple. If you will see this edge, just look at this edge here, where the light and dark is meeting. If I will choose this one, So you will see that it is now in this form. Okay, it will look like this. If I will choose this, so you will see now it is in this form. Okay, if I will choose this, you will see it is in this form. So this is basically what the contour of the like the highlight, like the gloss. So there are different others here. So you can check where whatever you select, you get the result out of it. So whatever suits your design, you can choose that. I usually like linear or maybe this one, which is like more like a sloped one. But in this case, I will keep this linear here. Okay. Now, this area is the highlight area. And you can see this is the highlight area. And the highlight area is white. This is the dark area, which is known as the shadow mode. Okay, like shadow here. This is the highlight mode. This is the shadow mode. Highlight mode is basically white, and the shadow mode is black. You can change the color of it too, and you can change the opacity. Suppose opacity like the transparency. Suppose if it is too dark, so maybe you can reduce the opacity of the shadow mode. If I'm reducing, you can see that it is becoming lighter. And if you think the highlight is too strong, you can change the opacity of that too. So maybe I will keep it just like this. And on the other hand, you can change the color of it. Suppose if you like right now, it looks like a white color light is falling on it. But if you don't want white color light to fall on it, you want a red color light to fall on it, you can change this white to red. And it will look like the red color light is falling off. So when a red color light is falling off, so somewhat the shadow should be little bit dark reddish. So maybe you can go here and make it a little bit dark reddish too. Okay. But the mode is multiply, the blending mode. If you remember, we studied about the modes, the blending modes in the last class. So you can change it to something else here, maybe normal. So you can see that you can it is now dark black. Okay. But I will keep this white. I will not change anything. I will keep this black. I will not change anything. And I will move this to. So this is one of the bevel emboss applied. Now, bevel emboss out of all these other layer style is the only one that have a separate contour and texture option. If I will go to contour, I can add another contour to it. Suppose if I click on contour, it will apply contour. I can choose anti-alias one here, choose the one that I like here, and you can see it is applying on my like design. So the one that I like, I can choose that. Okay. So let's apply a contour, a secondary contour, maybe this one. And there is a range of that, how much you want it to affect your design. So right now it is affecting 50%. So if I can increase or decrease the range, you can see that it is appearing there. Okay. So that you can do that too. But I don't like to apply contour at this stage because I don't like the effect. So maybe I won't click on it. But next thing, you have texture. If you go on texture, you will see it will suddenly apply a texture on it as you will click on it. So you can have some 3D-ish effect like a texture engraved or like sort of effect. Okay. So there are a lot of patterns that you can use as a texture inside your like bevel emboss. These are leaves pattern, like leaves are made, but at the same time, it looks like cracks. Okay. So you can go in trees and you have the leaves here, different sort of leaves. Okay. So you can choose any one of this, or you have grass also. You can choose any one of the grass. Also, at the same time, you have water. You choose any sort of water here. Okay. Suppose I like this. I can choose this. And then once you have selected, you have scale of it. You can make it bigger or you can make it smaller. Smaller, I don't like the effect when it is small. I like when the effect when it is bigger. So I will just make it bigger. Then depth, how deep you want the effect to be. You can make it very deep like this or less deeper. Okay. So less deeper, I will do that. Something like that. Okay. So I will not keep the contour. I will keep the texture. Okay. Or let's do one thing. Okay, let's keep the texture. So I have applied this one. I have changed some settings and I got the bevel and emboss the way I want it on my text background. And I will press OK. And as soon as I will apply, you will see there is an effects option, which shows here that there is an effect applied. And which effect I have applied? Bevel and emboss. So I can click on this arrow to hide this. Otherwise, what will happen? You will have more and more options here. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean that you can only apply one layer style to a particular layer. This text background, I can add another effect. So I can go here and I can choose another effect here. So from here, or there is another method. Okay. You can go to the layer option on the top. You can click that and then you have layer style here. From here, you can do the same thing. Okay. Whatever you can do from here, you can do from here as well. So let's do like this time from here. So I have already applied bevel and emboss. You can see that like there is a check mark, which indicates that I have already applied the bevel and emboss. Now let's apply inner shadow also. So I will click on inner shadow. As soon as I will click on inner shadow, it will give me this option again. And you can see that bevel emboss is already checked. Texture is already checked. Now I'm in inner shadow and it's checked. So that means I can apply more than one. So I'm now applying the inner shadow. First, in inner shadow, you will notice here all the settings are changed. So for each layer style, settings will not remain same. It will change accordingly. So each of them have different settings. So now inner shadow settings are different. First, we have blend mode. Now blend mode is what? Multiply. What is the color of the shadow? Is black. That's what I want. If you want it to change it to different color, you can change it. Opacity, how you want this opacity to be appeared. Now, angle. This is the angle right now, 139. But I don't want this angle. I want to use the global light angle. Global light angle was what? The one that I applied on the bevel and emboss. If I will do that, it will match with my design. So right now, if you will see, this is the current effect I'm getting. But the light is falling from the top. So that means the shadow should be here. As soon as I will click on use global light, now it is more realistic because it is following the global light which I applied there. So that's the good thing about the global light. It keeps everything united. So I will choose the global light so the effect will remain more realistic. Okay. Now distance. Distance is how far you want the shadow to appear. So this is the inner shadow, a shadow like which is inside of an object. So if I will uh, increase the distance, you can see the shadow is going off or in, okay, from the surface. So I will just keep it till here. Next here, I have it what? I have the choke. Choke is what? The separation of the edge of the shadow with with the surface which is outside here. Okay, so I can change the choke and you can see it is becoming harder. It's not soft anymore. So I don't like to play with the choke because it gives unrealistic result. It becomes very sharp. You can see here as well. So I always want to keep it 0 so that the edge here of the shadow remains softer. Now size. Here the size looks fine, but here the size looks smaller. So I can increase the size here a bit, and that's all. And you can also play with the settings. You can make it move it up or down later on also. Now it also have contour, same thing. You can turn on the ATLS for the high quality. You can change any one of these contouring, but I usually want to keep the linear like I did for the bevel. Now, what is the noise? If you just notice here, because this is quite zoomed out, you will not see the result here. If I increase the noise, this soft edge here will start having some noise. It will look like spatter. If I will increase the noise, so you can see that it's becoming spattered. Here you can also see. Okay? Sometimes you need this effect, sometimes you don't need this effect. So at this stage, I don't need it, so I will reduce the noise. Okay. Now, I have this inner shadow. What if I want to make this inner shadow a little bit more stronger, or I want to blend another inner shadow to it? So two inner shadows you can make at the same time. So any layer style that you can apply twice have this plus option. This plus option, what will do is that it will allow you to add another layer style as like same as you have already applied. So if I will press this plus button here, it will apply another inner shadow. Now the next inner shadow, maybe I want to change its blending mode to normal. Maybe I want a red color here, and you can see that this is here, and maybe I can use the opacity. Okay. When I change the opacity, you can see that half is uh, black, which is in the background, which is this inner shadow, and half it is red, which is this inner shadow. And I can change their like you can say their order. So I want the black shadow inner shadow to be on the top and red inner shadow to be on the bottom. So I can drag this and move it down. Okay. So I don't think we can do that. It's not allowing me to drag it. Yeah, from here maybe. If I press this. Okay, yeah. From here you can do this. So if you want to move it up or down, you can do that from here. Okay. So just see how it will look like on this on the effect. Okay. Maybe I can use a little bit opacity of it. So it is blending with the black and with the red. So you can apply more than two effects. So I will apply like you can double up your existing layer style. So the inner shadow, I have two inner shadow now. One is black, okay, and one is red, okay, but little bit with a little bit opacity. And maybe this time for the red, I can change it contouring to have an interesting result. Maybe I will choose this. Okay, so I will have this sort of an inner shadow. So I have applied bevel and emboss to it. I have applied inner shadow to it. I have applied the inner like two inner shadows to it. Okay, and I will press OK here. So I got my text background with a very different sort of a layer style. Now, same thing I can do with the text. I can go with the text and I can apply any effect to it. Now, as you know, you can apply the text effect from here. You can apply the text effect from layer, okay, and then layer style and from here. Or there is a third method. The third method I always use is the shortcut method. What you can do is that in the layer, at the end, at this stage where you don't have anything, if that at this spot, if you double click, it will open that layer style window. And now you can choose and it will apply the effect over here. For example, if I want to apply a stroke to it, I can go to the stroke and I can apply any sort of a stroke here. But let's change the color to black or something and make it a little thinner. So I have applied a black stroke to it. Now, stroke have different settings. All of them, later on, what you can do is that just do some practice, make some objects on your Photoshop document layer, and try to apply like different layer styles on it so that you can see how you can apply different effects and what are the different settings. So you will enjoy it because it creates like very interesting effects out of it. Now, stroke, there are like positions in the stroke: size, then position. What is the position? Right now, the stroke position is outside. So it is giving me the stroke, you can see here, outside of an object. Okay. If I will click inside, so you can see the stroke is inside. So you can see the stroke is inside, but that it is too thick that everything seems black. So let me make it a little narrower. So you can see now the stroke is inside the object, not outside. But if you want half inside, half outside, so you will use center. So half of it is inside, half of it is outside. So I will keep this one centered, and maybe I will change the stroke size to 8. Now there is a blending mode of the stroke color. I will keep it normal. Otherwise, you can change it to whatever you want. Okay. And there is an opacity of the stroke. So I will keep it 100% so that it is uh, basically visible 100%. Then you have an overprint. So if you click on the overprint, what it will do is that if you apply more and more strokes, just like what we did to the inner shadow, it will create it more stronger effect to it. Now I have here fill type. Now the fill type here is color. Okay, so which is a solid color. I can have a gradient. We'll study about gradient in our later classes. What is gradient? It's a blend between more than one color, like 2, 3, 4, whatever you have. So you can click on gradient. As soon you will click on gradient, you will have a gradient sort of a stroke. You can see that white and black when meet together, you can choose different sort of gradients. You have a lot of gradients here. Okay, so choose the one that you like. But and then gradient have its own settings here. But I don't want the anything from the gradient to be applied, so I will keep it color. There is pattern also. So if you go to the pattern, you can choose any pattern and that pattern will be applied on your stroke. So choose whatever pattern you like and it will be applied on your strokes. You can make your own pattern, which we will study in our next classes. For now, I will keep it normal uh, stroke, which is a black color. Now, somehow the color is like a green or yellowish. So you can change the color of it from here by double clicking the text and then changing the color. Or you have one more option here called overlay. You click on overlay, you can change it to whatever color you want directly from here. Okay. And then you have a different blending modes, which will blend it with the original color. The original color is what? This. I think it is yellow or green or something like that. So it will blend this color with that. Okay. So if you will choose, it will be a mix between these. Okay. Or if you keep it normal, you can mix between them through the opacity. But at this stage, I don't want overlay. I want to keep the original color. Sometimes what happens, you only want the stroke, but you don't want the fill. This yellow color you don't want. You want it to be transparent from inside, but you want only stroke. In that case, you can go to the blending options. When you go to blending options, you will see two different sort of blending. Opacity, fill opacity. Opacity is the overall opacity. If I will change the opacity, the overall transparency will be reduced for the whole image. Next, we have fill opacity. Fill opacity will not change the opacity of any layer style that you have applied, but it will change the opacity of the original object, not the layer style. Right now, our layer style is what? Stroke. If I will reduce the fill opacity, it will reduce the opacity of the text itself, but not the stroke. So the yellow will become transparent, but the stroke black will stay as it is. So if I will reduce the fill opacity, so you can see that the text itself became transparent, but the stroke is as it is there. So maybe I'll keep in this way, or I only want stroke, I don't want the fill. So I can just press OK. And you can see that I have applied one effect here. If I click this button on the text background, you can see more because I have applied blend and emboss, bevel and emboss, inner shadow 1, inner shadow 2. Here I only applied one, which is stroke. So now if I will move this text, and you can see that it is transparent from inside. Okay. Now building, I can simply just do the same thing, double click it here. And this time I will apply a different sort of a effect. Maybe I will apply now drop shadow. So I can go to the drop shadow. So you can see that it is applying the shadow under this. So I will keep everything as it is. But again, the use global light, I will use the same light, which is I used here, the effect. So it will remain intact. Okay. So like it will remain more like consistent. So I check this. So now you can see the shadow is down here, like light is falling from the top. You can change the distance of it, of the drop shadow. Seems quite smaller. So you have size, and there is you have a spread. Spread will strengthen your shadow. As much you will increase it, it will become more sharper. But it's better to keep it as low as possible to have a soft shadow. If you want a hard shadow, then you can increase it. But for my case, I want a soft shadow, so I will keep it soft. I can increase the size of it. Okay. And distance a little bit down here. Opacity, I can reduce it a little bit here. You have this. It also have a contour. I can turn on the anti-alias. Also, it have noise. I don't want any noise at this stage. I will keep it as it is, 0. Or maybe a slight noise, maybe 3. Unnoticeable, but little bit effect it will give. Contouring you can do of the edges, but I will keep it linear like always. Once I'm done, I'll just press OK, and you will notice there is a shadow. Now, all of these layers have different sort of a uh, like a layer style. Now, you will notice that to move any layer, I have to click the layer first and then move. Click the layer first and then move. So what if I want to move lorem ipsum now, or like this text lorem ipsum now? I don't want to move this. If I click on lorem ipsum and try to move it, will not move it because I'm still in the buildings layer. So in building layers, I cannot move lorem ipsum, and building layer I cannot move the text background. Same as if I'm in the text background layer, I can only move the text background layer. I cannot move the lorem ipsum, this text layer. I cannot move the building. So there is an option inside Photoshop which is called auto select. Now, what does the auto select do? Auto select will auto select the layer or a group. So right now we are working in layers, not group. So I will choose layer and keep it as it is. And then click on auto select. Now, if notice where I am right now, I'm in the text background. But as soon I will click on the buildings, I will move to building. I can move to buildings. As soon I will click on the text, I will move the text. I can move the text. You can notice that. So this is quite handy option, and it will allow you to move things very fast between this. So just notice here, whenever I move around, the layers changes. Okay. But in some cases, it might be confusing. It might not work. So you can uncheck it whenever you feel like it's causing confusion. Okay. So you can uncheck that. So that's how you can apply different sorts of layer styles. And we have seen already how we can link the layers and how we can apply layer styles. Now, let's see how we can do layers composition, how to compose different layers. Composition is basically really important in Photoshop, the layer composition, because whenever you make a design through different compositions. Now, here we have text background, okay? And we have text here and we have building here. So I want the text layer to be on top of the text background. So I will go to the text background and I will move here. Okay. Now, once I will do that, I want both of them to be on my right side and this one to be on my left side. So I will take my building layer and I will move it here, but the thing is that it's not fitting the size. So what I can do, I can select all of them. To select all of them, you can press the first one. You can click the first one, then press the shift and click the last one, and whatever is in between will be selected. Or you can press Control key and select whatever you want to work on. So you have two ways. And then I want to make it smaller. So either I can go to Edit, Retransform, or I can click on the Show Transform controls. So when I click that, I will get this option. I could make it smaller. So don't worry about the transformation because in our next lesson, we will study transformation in detail. So I will make it smaller, move wherever I want, and press this button, and that's all, and uncheck. So now this is basically what we call the composition. Okay. Now the text itself is basically on top of the text background because of the layer order. This is what we studied in our last like class where when we were like going through the layer ordering. Okay, so as this is on the top of the text background, it is appearing on the top of it. What if I will take the text layer here and drag it down? Now you can see the text is under the text background. It will not show because it is behind it. If I move a little bit here, you can see that it is peeking from behind from the text background. Let me undo it, Control Z a couple of times. We're back to this. Buildings is the toppest layer, which is on the top of these two. If I will move, it will be always on top of these two. Text background is the layer which is under both of these two layers. So wherever I will move it, it will always remain under. So that's what the text ordering basically is. So this is how you do the composition. You put the layers where they need to, where they are belong to, and then you do the composition. I can add more stuff, and then I can do the composition like based on the layer ordering. Okay, so this is how you do the layer composition. Now I can duplicate the layers also. For example, I want text same with the same layer style, but little bit bigger and written here. Okay. So instead of creating a new text, okay, here, like writing something and then applying the same style, same everything to it, it will take time. So for me, it will be better to take the existing text layer and duplicating it. To duplicate the layer, you just have to go to layer option and duplicate the layer. And when you click that, it will ask you what name you want to give it to the duplicate layer. So you can say, I want heading. I want like a name of this layer to be heading. And I will press OK. And it will give me over here. Or let's delete this one. Let's do in another way. Or the shortcut is on your keyboard, you press Control and J on your keyboard and you will get a duplicated text here. Okay. So this is one way of doing. Another way of doing is that you take this layer, drag it to the new layer button, and it will make a duplicate copy. And then you can later on change the name. Maybe I will call this heading. And now, as they both are on top of each other, so you cannot differentiate between them. You cannot see. But as soon I will go to this heading layer and move, you can see that duplicated one. I will keep as it is everything. Just I want to change the size of it. So I will click here. Okay. And just I will, okay. There is one more thing. Change the size. If I will click here, change it. And when you're satisfied, you can either press this button, or if you're not satisfied, you can press this button. Okay. But there is a shortcut. You can double click your option, like your layer over here, or press enter on the keyboard to accept it. So this is the shortcut. Instead of clicking here, you can double click it here, or you can press enter on your keyboard. But if you're not satisfied, you can press ESC, the escape button on your keyboard, the escape key on your keyboard. So I usually double click it. Simply, I will accept this and uncheck the transform control. Now, simple. I just want to change the text itself. I'll double click this T icon, which will allow me to change the text. And I will write the text of my choice. So once you're satisfied, now I cannot press enter or double click here because this is text. So don't worry about the text, the details of the text, because we will study more about the text in later classes. But if you want to accept a text, you have this option here. So there is no shortcut for it. So you just have to press here. And now I have a duplicated layer. I just changed the text of it, but I skipped all the steps of converting this layer to same as the stroke, because it already existed. I just duplicated it. I just renamed the layer. I just changed the text. So this is how you can save your time when you're duplicating layers. Now, one thing you can do here is that, or to make things more organized, you can do groupings. Suppose I can make two groups here. One group for images, one group for text, or one group for top row and one group for the bottom row. So let's do let's make a new layer here, and I will rename it to deco, something like for decoration purposes. And I will take a color here, change its like color here, take a shape and drop a shape here. Okay, so this is for decoration purposes for the welcome. Now I want to create two group. I want to create a group for the top objects and for the bottom object. So I will first do one thing here. I will rearrange things. Like text background is the bottom one. On the top of it is the text itself. Okay, lorem ipsum. Then there should be buildings here. So I have to bring the building over the text. Now they both are joined, like not joined, I mean, they all are on top of each other, next to each other. So it will be easier for me to work on. These two are on the top and these three are on the bottom. At this stage, it doesn't matter where I want to keep the heading or deco because they are not they're not top of each other. Okay. Now let's make a group. To make a group, you have two ways. First method is to select the objects that you want, like to select the layers that you want to put in a group. Then here is a group button. Just click on a new group button. Automatically, those things which were selected are now moved inside a group. I can rename this to bottom row. Now, where are all those layers which I selected? It's inside the group. To see them, you have this arrow option. If you click on it, You can reveal all those inside. But if you don't want to see it, you can close it. Now, if I will click on the group and try to move anything with the move option, the whole group will move. It's like linking, but you're putting this in a group. Okay. Inside a group, it's up to you. You can also do linking. Maybe you want to link these two, but not this one. So if you're inside a group itself, you can also do linking. Suppose I will select these two, link these two, but not this one. That means if I'm on the text and if I'm moving, so it will move the text background with it. And if I'm moving text background, it is moving that. But it will not move the building because building is separate. But if I'm on the group itself and I try to move, it will move the whole thing. So that's a good way of doing linking and grouping. Now, another way of making a group is just click on a, like first make sure everything is deselected by clicking anywhere outside, or select and press deselect, or Control D on your keyboard. Make a group. It will be on the top, and rename the group to whatever you want. I want the name to be top row. Now, once it is top row, I can select the deco. I can select the heading, and I will drag and drop to the top row. So I will drag it and drop it inside the top row. Now these both are now inside the top row. So if I close it, you can see that they are there. Now if I will move the top row, it will move the whole thing. So that's how it actually works. So I hope this part is clear of grouping. So grouping is a very nice way of organizing things, keep things neat and clean and organized. So if I want to hide any layer, any group, so whole group can be hidden. So that's one more benefit of creating groups. Okay. Now, last thing is like before like going to the other parts, how to delete a group. I already grouped them. And one thing, let's do first what unlink them in from inside. I have unlinked these two. Now, what if I don't want groups anymore? How to delete the group? To delete a group, you have to select a group. Either press this delete button from here or press delete on your keyboard. So when you press delete on your keyboard, it will directly right away delete the group without giving you a warning. So let me undo it, Control Z. But if you will click a group, if you will select a group and click this delete button, it will give you option. It will give you a warning. It will say, okay, do you want to delete the whole group and whatever inside the group? So you will choose group and contents. Just like when you press delete on the keyboard, it deletes everything. That's what it is. Other thing is you only want to delete the group, but you want to keep the objects. So yes, I don't want to like delete the objects or layers which are inside. I want the group to be deleted, not the layers. So I will just press the group only. But maybe by mistake you pressed it, so you can also cancel. But I want to use the group only. And as soon I do that, you can see everything is deleted. Like the whole group itself is deleted, but the layers are not deleted. Same thing I will do with the top row. Delete group only. Okay. Now there is one more way, like one more thing here to organize things, that is called layer alignment. Okay. Now sometimes what happens, you have objects which are displaced, not in a right order, here or there. Okay. Something like that. Now you want to fix them. You want to do like an alignment, or you want to align the layers. You want to put them in a very nice order, a nice way. So there are a couple of different ways of doing that, and one of the method here is the layer alignment. How the layer alignment work? Whenever you select a moving tool, you will see a layer alignment option on the top. Right now they are disabled. You cannot do anything about it. But when you will select layers, you can apply these effects to it. Now, first, I will apply alignment to the text background, okay, and the text itself. So I can select the text, press Control, and then select the text background. As soon as I will do that, you can see that whatever is like related to these two, those alignment options are on. Now, if I want to keep both of them on the left side, like here, on the edges, I can press this button. And you can see that both are aligned on the left edges. The left edges are meeting each other. But if I don't want that, I want them to be in the center, so I can press the center button and the both are in the center. Same way, if I want them to be on the right side, I can press this right. So they are matching on the right. But I don't want that. I want to keep them the left, just like that. Or I think it's better to keep them in the center. This is basically what this is the vertical alignment. Okay. Now we have here horizontal alignment also. So sorry, this is horizontal alignment and this is the vertical. So I can align them on top edges just like this, or bottom edges just like this, or middle just like this. So this looks much more better. Okay. So automatically they are perfectly aligned with the space around them. After this, I can use any one of these just to see which looks suits better. I like this one. I will keep it as it is. Then, uh, with my keyboard, left and right arrow, I can move them to the with the left arrow key. I can move it to the left side. So this will allow me to keep everything intact. Now buildings. Now building, I want it to be in the center of the background, or you can say on the right side of the background. So what I will do is that I will select the building layer and I will choose the background layer. And you will see that the option is turned on. So if I will click on this button, you can see that it will go in the center of the whole background. If I will click this, it will go on the right side of the background. Sorry, left side of the background, right side of the background, center of the background, top, bottom, completely in the center. So this is how I can change it. So I want it to be on the center, like, sorry, on the left side and also in the center. So I can do that. Or center, I don't want it maybe, so I can only select the building and move it down. Something like this. Okay. Or I can also move it here. Then maybe I want to align these two. So I will select these two, heading and the deco. Now, if I will select this, it can go in the middle, these two, or in the or top of each other, or bottom of each other. So bottom, I think, is fine. And then I can, with my mouse or like keyboard arrow keys, like left, or like top, bottom, left, right, I can press those and move them just like this. So I'm pressing the down arrow key on my keyboard and it is moving down. If you will keep it pressed, it will constantly moving it down or up. And if you want to move them fast, so you have to press shift key first, then up or down key. So the process will become a little faster. This is how you can align your different objects inside your Photoshop. Apart from duplicating and aligning layers, we have uh, an option, which is the last topic here, flattening the layer. Flattening the layers means how many layers we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can convert all these layers into one layer. All the effects will be gone. I cannot edit that effect. All the text will become images. I cannot change the text as well. So that you have to keep in mind. That's the downside of it. What if I want these to be a one layer, these to be a one layer? So I can select deco and heading, both of them, there, and merge layer. They will become one now. You can see deco. So I can move it just like this. They are one. not linked, but actually one. Now I can press Control and select these three, layer and merge. Oops. Merge layers. Okay. Now these are now one layer. You can see that. I have now two layers. One is this one, and other is this one. Apart from this, I have another option here in the layer, which is merge visible. Like whatever is visible right now, everything is visible. But if I will press this button, so this is invisible. If I will go to the layer and merge visible, what it will do is that it will merge deco and the background. Okay. Another option here is the flatten image. What it will do, it will make it look like a JPG or GIF or PNG where you don't have any layer. It will become one. If I will press flatten image, the whole thing is now one layer. There is no layer over here. Everything is flattened out. So this is how you can uh, do layer flattening or merging layers. Okay. So I hope everything about understanding the layers is clear. How to work on the layers, how to change the background, how to work on the background layers is clear. How to create layers is clear. How to rearrange and edit and do the layer editing is clear. How to change the opacity of a layer, how to do the layer blending, how to work on layer blending modes is clear. How to link the layers together, how to apply layer styles together is changed. How to flatten layers, how to uh, do the layer like compositing, how to duplicate or align layers, and how to make layer groups is clear. So I hope all these topics are clear. So next class we will move to the transforming. And now we can move to the blackboard so we can discuss some other topic. So I'll end the stream and let's meet on the blackboard.